Hello, Doug. How you doing? Okay, Photoshop time. I guess I could real quickly just show you. I did a little whatever. What you want to? I'll show you that real quick. And then, aren't they sneaky? Let's bring in your photo. Now, there's a lot of ways to make selections. It looks like you guys are photographing on top of white. The easiest way, which is a way I'll show you, is to go up here, and this is the what they call the quick selection tool. Okay, and here you would just drag, and this is what I used for the example I just showed you, and you can drag here. Now, if you're using other tools, you would hold Shift to add to your selection. This tool is definitely designed for your non-Photoshop expert. There's a lot of other ways to do this, and I will briefly show you how I would have approached it in the past, but I'm going to try and keep this not too tweaky or technical. I've been in Photoshop since um, 94, 95. So what I'm going to do is make a copy of this by dragging it down to the plus. And the reason for that is I have this active selection with the marching ants. I'm going to make that a mask. And you can see when I turn that off that our background is. Now, just for to giggles, a lot of times I might check something like this just by filling it with black. You can see I have that green there. I'm going to show you. I don't even think it's it. That looks fine. It looks good. We can zoom in. There's a little bit of this and that. In fact, I'll show you how to adjust for that right now. So we'll go out to about 300 zoom. You would go here. So this is what's called a layer mask. Okay, and the reason this is better than just making popping them up onto their own layers that this is adjustable for doing exactly the kind of thing I want to do now. I'm going to bring up levels, which is under adjustments and levels. I usually go Control L, and you can see that if I pull the slider, it will affect the edge because there's a certain amount of gray that's there. I like that. That looks good. You can definitely do things by moving either one of these, any three. You can try a bunch. I just happen to know because I do a lot of this. See, I can make it really bad, or just pull it in a little. That's a little cleaner, and I think that's a good edge. Nice edge. By the way, I zoom in and out by hitting the Control key and plus or minus. So there's your now, as far as this handy little guide here, I guess I would just select that like this, grabbing the rectangular dealy bobber. It's probably a layer in your program anyway, I'm guessing. And pop that up. So let's go ahead and make this black, and I'm going to invert it so it's just white. That's pretty much what you had. So what are we talking about now? Well, for one thing, I'm very pedantic. This isn't centered. I want it centered. And if I had to, you can create a guide by pulling off from the edge, going 50%. That's, see, it's locking in with the center there. Also, now to do this little moves like this, I hit the V key, which is the move tool, and I use the up and down arrows. I do not love this little halo here. So I'm just going to make a little selection. I'm going to hit the delete, and that's nice and clean. And I can actually reuse that over here. Delete. And you're going to see why that's kind of critical in a minute. It's just a nice idea. Will look cleaner. So this is on white. Now you're saying, oh, Mikey, want to put this on some velvet. I tried bamboo. Bamboo is like the same color as these rocks. So I have this browser opens. Velvet to DuckDuckGo. I got this one here. It's good resolution. Got these spots here. Actually, I should probably show you how to fix that. So let's go ahead and re-download it. View file. And I usually would just drag it to my desktop. It's going to copy and replace the one I have there, which I fixed. So Now we could be searching for any kind of background you want. I'd look for something free. Don't worry about the color. You might look at the different textures though, you know. I just thought velvet you could depending on the objects, you could use stone or any sort of texture you want, tile. Um, just introduce a bit of a grain, what have you. This will work for any texture. The thing is you want decent resolution, so I'm going to go ahead and just minimize this for a minute. We're going to concentrate on this bit of velour. Now, I like this velour, but I don't like these spots where like someone touched it or something like that. So I'm going to go to the spot healing brush tool. You can see I already have it about the right size. The way I would change the size is by right clicking on my mouse and just pulling it a little bigger. Now this is a bug in Photoshop. Sometimes it doesn't actually remove and you can see that's cleaned it up very nicely. We can get pedantic and extra tweaky. Even remove little things like that. Let's go ahead and save that and close it, because what I want to do is bring it in as what's known as a smart layer. Smart layers are good because they are, so what I would do is, it's on my desktop, I'll bring it out here. So that's my desktop. I'll just bring it in from the desktop and click OK. And you can see this little symbol here. That means it's a smart layer. Now, smart layers are great because you can resize things over and over and over, and you won't have any problems with the losing resolution or quality each time you rescale. That's the number one reason. So for me, it's the default thing to do because I never know how many manipulations I might be putting a layer through. As long as it's a smart layer, it will just calculate the changes to the layer and show you that visually. But the actual data is really locked inside of a little container. And I won't get again too technical. I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to pull this up. And I'm going to pull this down. And that looks pretty good. If I wanted to, I can hold shift and alt and pull it out a little too, so it's not looking, the warp and woof is not odd. Now you might say, well, that's nice, Mike, but I really don't like maroon. In fact, I hate it. It's my least favorite color in the world. Okay, just relax. Come down here. There's a lot of ways to do this. You could either create a new layer and fill it with a color. I'm going to go with this option because it's pretty cool. Just show you something that it is here. Where is it? You can tell I use it all the time as effects. No, it's not effects. It's a type of layer. Photo, color lookup. Ah, right at the very top. Solid color. Now it's picking black. Now I had green in the example I showed you. And keep in mind, it might need to change a little bit. And you might go, well, but I like the velour. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit of, by the way, there's a little extra mask here. You probably don't need it. I'm just going to delete that. If we just go to color here, we get all the texture and attributes of this lovely bit of velvet. But we've completely changed the color, and very easy in real time to make it any color we want, right? So I'm going to cancel that because I do like the green. I think it complements the colors of your rocks. They're not rocks, they're arrowheads. I know that. Okay. One other thing I want to do is, like, these seem like they would benefit from a little contrast, and you might hesitate to do that because when you make a contrast adjustment, usually if you don't know how to change it, um, it will increase the saturation so it looks fake. But what I'll do, I'm going to grab I'm going to grab the curves. And what I'm going to do is select this option here, which will clip it. By the way, another good way to do that is by holding the Alt key and clicking in between your... This clips it, so actually I'll show you what this does. So say we make a radical adjustment. right? Without it being clipped, it will affect everything. If it's clipped, it only affects the arrowheads. So let's bring that back down. And usually, one of your best adjustments is what we call an S curve. A little darkness, a little lightness. These are kind of a little too light anyway, so I might pull down on that. I don't really like that. Now, but you notice how things got more yellow and it doesn't right. What you do to adjust for that is you go here under this. These are called merge modes. You saw we used one for color. Here we're going to use one called luminosity, and I do like that. You can see that's working pretty good. I think we could go even a little darker now. I might even pull this in a little, down a little. Yeah, just kind of play up some of the detail that's there. You might even feel that it's still, you can see that yellow tone hasn't really changed. All that's changed is the values. But a lot of times what I like to do with this sort of thing is overdo it and then back off with the opacity. That generally will tend to give you a nicer effect. See, that looks good to me. I'm going to get rid of this distracting. So there you just use the move tool and you just drag it right away. Or you can clear it. Same difference. Let's get this guy back. You say, well, that doesn't look so great. Well, I'm thinking you don't really need the white because the black, all the information is in the black. So we're going to use another merge mode, and that is going to be multiply. Nice, right? Looks great. You could even get very tricky if you want to turn down the opacity, and it's just like way more subtle. Also, it occurred to me it might be nice if something like this was over off to the side, but center's fine. You probably have I know you're probably working in some sort of official department of some type. So the last thing I would do to this is, as you mentioned, I think in your email, a little bit of a drop shadow. And again, this is 55. We could go a bit darker. You could even if you just knock it to 70, you've got a little bit of that the woof of the velvet coming through. That's nice. It's subtle. Now, there's a couple different ways to do drop shadows. The quickest and easiest way is to come down here and click under. Boom, boom, boom. Where are you? Oh, it's an effects. Sorry. Boom, boom, boom. It is drop shadow. And where are you? I'm losing my. Oh, it's at the bottom. Okay. Now, usually it'll apply the drop shadow based on what you did before. It can be very helpful sometimes to zoom in. We're not seeing much right now. Okay. Uh, let's go ahead and increase the size. And one of the great things that you can do, and oh, it's my opacity is really low. And my size is too big. So what are we seeing? Oh, I have the wrong object. Durr. Okay, let's go up there. Yeah, no wonder I wasn't seeing nothing. I was seeing it actually pretty much dialed in the way I'd had it. I like these sorts of effects to be more subtle. You can see that looks quite natural. But you can get it, more or less size, opacity, right? Like I said, a lot of times I'm doing this. Also, you can get it. You don't have to move this. You can get things where you can just drag in the document itself. That's good to do zoomed out. That's a little too much. Like I say, I think for the kind of stuff you're doing, you want it pretty subtle. That's almost like a little halo. I think I'd pick a direction. And then, so when you increase the size, it's the amount of blend. You don't want too much because that implies it's really high above and you can back that off. And even when this effect is very subtle, it has an impact. Like that's so subtle as to say, did he put a shadow on that? But you can see when I turn it off, it definitely has an impact. And that's about it. The other thing I might play with would be uh, bringing out some more of the details in your arrowheads here. Actually, you can use what's it called, a smart filter. Now, I didn't make this a smart object, but I haven't scaled it or anything. I could definitely make it a smart object. I'm not gonna though. If I was gonna scale it in any way, I would. But let's go down here to sharpen. Now, I have a lot of different ways to sharpen, but we use smart sharpen. Smart sharpen is entirely reversible and can be applied to smart objects, but it'll work just as good here. Okay, let me see that there's room for some sharpening. Now, the thing with this is the radius. You don't want, if you have it set bigger, it'll focus on the little things. And sometimes to really see what you're doing, you got to crank up that amount. It's applying it up here as well. And there are times like the amount that's way too much, way too crusty. I'm sure. Yeah, let's take that way down. That's just not updating. Reduce noise. Yeah, this isn't the greatest reference. I mean, the photo looks like it's been downsampled to me. That's a bit like that. Now, I want to show you one other thing, because say you apply that to this, we'll go Control Z. You can see that definitely helped. Control Alt Z to redo it. And another thing I like to do is this fade up here. Okay, so you say, oh, I wish I'd only done half of that. It looks too crusty. Well, it's easy to do. You can just fade this, and you can actually fade it with different merge modes. Like maybe you're creating white halos, but you just want it to deepen the dark bits. That would be darken. I kind of like that actually. Um, we'll go with normal though. I think it's good to do it in all regards. And I think I can back way down from that. Looks like it was sharpened a bit once already. And that's it. Now, if I was, if it was me, actually I will make this a smart object. They feel big in the space a little, but I'm getting tweaky now. You can see, just so you can see, I made that a smart object. When you open the smart object, you can open it by double clicking it, and you can see there it's in there with the mask and everything. You can move something and then save it, and it'll be whatever, or you can just close it without changing it. No, I don't want to save those changes because all I really would think that would look nice would be to just, so holding Alt and Shift, I think it would be nice just to reduce them a little in that space. Let them breathe a little bit. That looks better to me. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm gonna show you one other thing because I see stuff here that could be brought up. Details. So I'm just gonna make a copy of this. This is the beauty of layers. Why is that so dark? Ah, because we lost our adjustment. Again, drag, you hold Alt, you clip. Otherwise, it applies it to everything. Oh, we're not seeing a change. All it's really, it didn't do much in the way of lightning, so all that's doing is helping us with the shadows. If we go to this one, okay, what I'm going to do is make a copy of this by dragging it to the new icon up above, making a little clip. It's like a clipping mask is what that's called. And I'm going to just merge this all together. So the quick and dirty way would be you go like this, click on that, and you go, well, I'll show you the up here this way. You go to Layer, Merge Visible. Or I use a keystroke, but that's all right. So this is still got it's just very subtle. Yeah, well, looks like it kept the shadows with that too. That's all right. Yeah, it's definitely kept the shadows. I can see that, but it doesn't really matter. All I want to show you. Oh, I know a better way. I know a better way. I know what's happening. Uh, yeah, watch out for the smart layers because basically I've got to do this now to get to this. Will that work? Nah, it didn't work. It might have been good to keep. Oh, yeah. The selection I'm making is including the drop shadow because when I made the smart layer, actually it's not that far back. Why don't we just go back? Yeah, forget that. Um, you could just sacrifice a little quality, I'd say, by just scaling down. Forget the smart layer thing, or yeah, because it would be null and void. Those if I was going to save these masks to a channel, it would be null and void because they'd be smaller anyway. So I'm just holding Alt, so it's centered. I like that better. And this way I can duplicate this and just take the drop shadow off and show you what I had in mind. Copy, copy, close, clip, and turn off drop shadow. And I will go ahead and merge visible, Control Shift E. Oopsie, wrong one. When you merge visible, you must have the layer selected that you want to merge. These are just floating on their own. Everything's been properly clipped and everything now. I don't know if I'm still getting a drop shadow or not. Hopefully not. Yeah. Am I losing my mind? What did I do? Oh, I forgot to turn off the drop shadow when I merged it. Okay. One more time. Control Shift D. Turn these on. Everything I've done here is with the mouse. By the way, though, if you do a lot of this kind of thing, get yourself a cheap little Wacom tablet. You won't regret it, especially for the kind of stuff I'm going to show you now. So the reason I've got this, you say, well, you can't even tell I'm turning it on and off because it's exactly what's there. But the reason I'm going to do this right now is I sometimes will use this dodge and burn, and these are based on the old photography tools. In the old days, if you wanted something a little darker, you would have hold a little stick with a little round thing on it and dodge or burn. This is set to shadows. Now we're getting saturation, even though it says protect tones. Let's go to midtones. I don't care about that. All I'm looking at is this bringing out the detail or not? See, it's really kind of bringing out some of those details. I don't care so much about saturation. In fact, I'm just going to show you why. I'll just turn that to luminosity. And now there are lots of other ways I might do this. This is just one. In fact, why not? I'll show you the other way. Let's go ahead and get out of this. This is just looking okay, and it's not that reversible. So I like to do things that are reversible. So what I'll do, and this is my favorite way to dodge and burn myself. I go down here, I click on this, and I go levels. Um, yeah, I want to do a darkening thing, so I'll pull in this side. Let's go ahead and clip that to let's clip it. And that looks really bad, but don't worry about it. We're going to put that in luminosity mode and still don't worry about it. We're going to go up to this mask. This is what this is a mask. And we're going to go Control I. We're going to invert that. And then we're going to come over here to the brush tool with white selected and the opacity turned way, way down. And this gives you the same effect as dodge and burn, but there was like a spot when I was doing it with the actual burn tool that things got kind of icky. I'm just using my mouse, kind of scrubbing around. It's okay to do it a little heavy-handed because we could back off with the opacity. Also, because we're in a mask here, you see, if you hit D on your keyboard, it will put you back into black and white. If you hit X, it will reverse those. And here you can subtly back off of some of these where it feels maybe a little too much, right? I'm liking all that. I'm liking all that. I'm happy with that. And this is find and merge now. Now you can just merge it down by going Control E. You don't have to merge all visible. And you can see that is these rocks above, but they are actually just there to darken what's below. Not just darken, they're enhancing the contrast. And to be honest, it's a little overdone. We could back off of it with some opacity. That looks nice. So, save. Now, when you do layers, it's always going to save as cancel. Oh, let's go save. I'm going to put this on the one. Whoa, whoa. We'll just save it. Okay, fine. Yes. That's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll probably just upload it to the YouTube and as a private. And then there's an option under share private. So hope you're having a great day. Don't know if you guys do Thanksgiving in Canada. If you do, hope you had a good one, man. Anyway, talk to you real soon. Bye.